Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Hello, let me introduce myself. My name is Dia Ayuni and my student ID number is 4. In this video, I will explain the different types of contract in Islamic economics using a contract diagram. The first explanation is about the muharabah contract. There are three parties involved in this transaction, namely the customer, the seller of the goods, and the financial institution. Then there are two transaction contracts carried, namely the sale and purchase contract between the customer and the financial institution, and the sale and purchase contract between the financial institution and the seller of goods. Based on the scheme, the stage of transaction carried by Islamic banks in their muharabah. Number 1, the customer submits an application for procurement of goods, and the bank makes observation regarding the eligibility of the customer. If the customer's request is accepted, the bank then conducts a credit sale and purchase transaction with the customer. The customer pays a down payment first, and the rest will be paid in installments during the time spent set by the bank. Next, the bank gives the goods to the seller in cash, and so that it is delivered directly to the customer. After the goods are delivered, the customer has the obligation to pay installments to the bank. And last, the bank benefits from the difference between the dealer price and the customer price. Next discussion is about contract as-salam. Salam contract is a sale and purchase in which the receipt of the goods is deferred by payment of a cash price, or in other words, a sale whose characteristics of the dependent have been described at the beginning with the price or working capital paid up front. The explanation for the as-salam scheme is simple, namely that there are two parties who will transact. In this case, the seller and the buyer. The buyer will buy the product in the form of an item. Because the goods can be provided directly at the time, the buyer makes an as-salam contract to the seller and makes payment when the contract occurs. The buyer explains specifically relate to the goods he wants. After the agreement, the goods are made, and the appointed time to be complete, the product is sent to the buyer. Furthermore, regarding the istisna. Istisna is an agreement between two parties, namely the buyer and the seller, relate to ordering goods based on certain criteria agreed upon by both parties. Thus, the seller is obligated to prepare the ordered goods, and the buyer is obligated to pay for it. The explanation based on the istisna contract theme is that Islamic banks are positioned as seller. In this case, the customer orders goods according to a specification from the bank. When there is an agreement between the two parties, the bank will order the goods from the manufacturer. While the goods are made, the customer can make payment to the bank either by being paid in advance, in installments, or at the end. When the goods are finished, the goods are sent directly to the customer. Next, regarding about the contract court. Court contracts is a loan agreement in which the borrower is only obligated to return the principal of the loan within a specified period of time. The explanation of the court contract mechanism is the customer applies for a loan or card to run a business. Then the bank will analyze the application submitted by the customer. If the application is approved, then the approval can be done in a card contract. The customer here acts as a business actor and the bank plays a 100% role in providing capital. If the financing has matured, then the loan must be returned by the customer as much as the initial loan amount without any additional cost. Payment can be made in installments or all at once. The profit from the financed business is 100% owned by the customer. Next, about the Arahan. The Arahan contracts is a debt agreement by holding goods as collateral for debts. The consignee or murtahin has the right to hold the goods until all debts that delivered the goods or rahin are paid off. Explanation of the rahan is rahin contract scheme as the party to bonds the loan to the murtahin. Then the murtahin will provide a loan to rahin on condition that there is a guarantee in the form of rahin's valuables. After there will be a rahan or an agreement occurs. Then the rahin party submits the collateral to the murtahin and the murtahin provides a loan in accordance with the nominal agreement. If the loan repayment period has arrived, the rahin has an obligation to pay it, and the murtahin will return rahin's collateral when the debt has been repaid. Wadiyah contracts. Wadiyah is a customer deposit that must be maintained and returned at any time if the customer concerned wants the bank to be responsible for returning the deposit. In this contract, there are two types of contract, namely Wadi'ah Yad Amanah and Wadi'ah Yad Damanah. Explanation about Wadi'ah Yad Amanah scheme is the custodian will provide the goods to be deposited through a Wadi'ah Yad Amanah contract, where the party receiving the deposit is absolutely not allowed to use or take advantage of the deposit goods. However, as a service for storage, the custodian pays. This usually happens in Islamic bank on safe deposit box product. And the explanation about Wadi'ah Yad Damanah scheme, in this contract, the recipient of the deposit may use or utilize the goods deposit. If the deposit goods are used by the recipients of the deposit to benefit, then profit sharing, margin, or rent can be made according to the decision between the two parties. In this case, the recipients of the deposits is obligated to return the goods deposit in one pitch. So, this is my explanation about the different types of contract in Islamic economics. Thank you. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.